Heart Machine Studio, which its time was famous for the hit Hyper Light Drifter, present its new project. This time the team decided to get away from the pixel 2D and release a stylish 3D action platformer in an unusual environment. Minimalistic design, bright palette and sense of speed were used. The developers decided to connect the wild cocktail with a futuristic story about saving the world. In Solo Ash, players are sent to a distant galaxy, where an all-devouring black hole called Ultra Black Hole is moving through space. One day it stumbles upon an advanced civilization that decides to stop the catastrophe threatening its home planet with the help of stressor device. Scientists assemble a special machine and come forward with an expedition to the disaster, but their plan collapses, and the project participants are scattered on different worlds. The girl Ray decides to save the situation. The heroine embarks on an amazing journey to repair and start the mechanics of the central Yottabyte system in each of the 6 regions. The network is disrupted and constantly crushes these messages, trying to lower the girl's self-esteem and make her quit the task she started. The backbone of the gameplay does not change through this passage. The character opens a new sector, finds few animals here, destroys them, and fights a giant boss. Solo Ash is purely reminiscent of a runner due to the fast movement through vast location. The L2 button is responsive for running, done by Heart Machine as a futuristic rollerblade ride. The key will be jumped most of the time, and the feeling of speed will not leave the player for the moment. While exploring the location, Ray will find secrets and solve the simplest puzzles. Especially impatient users can immediately rush to destroy the flows, but in fact there is nothing else to do in Solo Ash. So a step to the side looks like a breath of fresh air, where the developers reveal and show interesting mechanics. Speaking of the latter, it's worth mentioning special movement, due to which you can open and explore places and observe interesting things. Ray is literally able to pull the world upside down, moving on the around ground or connecting neighboring island or location path. Another curious mechanics is moving on rails. The character jumps on thin stalk or similar spout and slides the pressure the L2 button. The heroine can use a double jump, fly over chasm, climbing into objects hanging in the air with a cat hook, and accelerate for a couple of seconds by pressing L2, all for the sake of speed. It is important to note that Solo Ash is not a pure runner. There's some area in the game where players can show their climbing skills and ability to pass platformers. In addition, Ray will meet groups of enemies, which must be killed on the ground, in the air and jumping from wall to wall. However, the enemies don't cause any trouble and are instantly destroyed with a couple of combo blows. The most interesting thing in Solo Ash, in addition to exploring location, is fighting with bosses. In order to summon up them for fight, you need to awaken them. To do this, you need to clean up a local source on the body of the planet. Getting close to one of them, Ray will see a column, a blow in which trigger a chain of reaction. It is important for the girl to destroy all such objects for a while and complete what was started with a finishing blow to the eye of the monster. It's hard to describe what's happening on the screen, but it looks like this. At high speed, Ray flying on hooks and climbing the walls, functionally running from pillar to pillar to have time to activate them all. The time given to complete the task varies depending on the difficulty settings, which affect only the destruction of anomalies and battles with bosses. Battles with the latter are reminiscent of Shadow of the Colossus, with the only difference being that you won't have to solve riddles here. It's enough to activate the columns at high speed, meeting the set timer. The enemies have 3 phases in total, the last of which adds the floors is lava mode to the game, and you can step into the marked area. Solo Ash mechanics are simple and the game doesn't promise anything complicated, but in reality there's a number of problems that the developers fails to cope with. Heart Machine's creation is full of flaws, not in terms of level design and other serious problems, but just programming spawns in most cases. The general Unfortunately of the project is seen in literally everything. We can miss the rail not sticking to the object. The character is able to fall into the abyss, slipping off the boss's body because of the camera not keeping up with him. The average enemy hosts from the back remain invisible behind the screen. The player does not have time to run to the next column, not understanding where he is to not enter marks, and so on. The sense of speed also had to be calculated better, because often you don't have time to stop, or on the contrary you pass an object with an incredibly long jump. It is clear that it is the first project in the three-dimensional world for the studio, but its development should have been done with great diligence. But what does not cause any complaints is the visual component. Colorful picture of what's going on are pleasing to the eye, and flirting with perspective is a delight, especially when you find a secret on the backside of the area. Optimization on the PS5 can't call be perfect. There are constantly encoding situations where Solar Arch does not keep a stable rate of 60 frames per second, especially in the open location. Sags do not affect the gameplay, but they are annoying and do not give you the best gaming experience. More questions are caused by the pumping system, which forces you to collect local currency, red orbs. They can be spent on the reconstruction of the shield, namely to buy one health cell. The price for each segment increases, 1000 orbs, 2000 and so on. The problem is that after passing the boss, one segment is forcibly removed from the player, forcing the player to collect object again. To say that is done on the purpose, nothing to say. In this phase, the developers delay the passage, which from their side looks mean. You can replenish your shield from the crates you find here and there, and the enemies don't pose a serious threat. The story component wants to seem fascinating, but in fact the user is forced to look for magazines and put together the puzzles piece by piece themselves. In each verse there is a non-player character that gives out a task to pass completely, which is quite difficult due to its intricacy. It is enough to skip one cave or pass by a necessary object, and the thread of the plot is lost. The dialogues, including those with sass, are so rare that you sometimes have to listen to them many times to understand what the authors want to say, and the plot itself is as simple as possible, and the ending, which the authors lead to, can be predicted in advance. So Ash is translated into many languages with subtitles, which contain some errors. Sometimes a male character speaks in the feminine person, and at times there is English text, it's in Russian localization. The game has problems with navigation, where the user may not understand where to go next or why they were brought to not specific area, and the snaggy translation only add to the issue. Overall, despite the shortcomings, Solar Ash looks like a curious mix of Jet Set Radio and Shadows of the Colossus, with a nice graphics and interesting bosses. Here's Machine's creation copies a lot of mechanics and other games, but fans of the genre should enjoy it, even if it will become as iconic as the first work of the team. Solar Ash is available on PS4, PS5 and PC, Epic Game, and exclusive to Sony consoles and the PC digital store of Fortnite Autos. Thank you for watching.